baseball player called Glenelyn Hill. He's got arachnophobia, right? And it was a debilitating fear of spiders. So he had a dream of spiders.
Yeah.
And that combined with sleepwalking.
What? Okay, yeah.
Oh, I thought the thing went up. Right, that combined with sleepwalking, he had a nightmare about spiders, and he started to unconsciously run through the house, and he crashed through a glass table and wound up with cuts and bruises all over his limbs, and he was out for 20 days.
That's a lot, mate. That's an excuse. That's an excuse.
Nah,
I was sleepwalking and had a dream about spiders, and that's when I ran through the door.
Yeah, man. That's what happened.
That's too many variables that have to work in conjunction with each other.
But you know, because I wouldn't believe that, right? But my dad, he told me a story. I don't know, for some reason, he had a dream that he was being chased by loads of Chinese people. I think he watches too many kung fu films. And then they all cornered him. You know what I mean? Like, he's running, and you're like, there's a big cage, and you're like, oh shit. And you turn around.
You ran into the cage.
And then they're all there. Yeah. And then he said one of them approached him, and then so the one of them approached him in his dream. Yeah. So he went to give him a hook, and he punched the wall. He punched the bedroom wall.
I thought your mum was in for it.
No, imagine. Exactly. Imagine. He punched the bedroom wall so hard. Yeah. His fist was like properly swollen. Yeah, really, like, you know. So I'm kind of believing. If you've got a sleepwalking problem anyway.
Yeah. Okay. You know, fair enough.
Yeah. My dad doesn't have a problem with Chinese people, by the way. He watches too much kung fu film.
That's the story. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah. And I want to punch him harder in real life. This one's a bit gross, mate. Alright, it's a footballer. Yeah. Never heard of him. Paulo Diogo. So he scored a goal. You know, in some football stadiums in Europe, they have like those
fencing,
yeah.
Yeah. To keep the scum out.
Keep the scum out.
Yeah. Keep the supporters away. Yeah. So, and then they still have like a massive gap between the fence.
They have a moat.
And the pitch.
Yeah. They have a moat. Medieval time. But then, so he scored a goal, and he jumped onto the metal fence. He celebrated, and he didn't realise he was wearing his wedding ring. Yeah. And he got stuck on the fence, and he got stuck on it. So he ran off the fence.
He jumped off the. You can guess what happens next. For those of you who are a little bit squeamish, 75% of his finger gets ripped off, gets left in the chain link fence, and he didn't even realise for the first few seconds as he started his celebration. So we spoke about that for a little while. I made a couple more funny jokes, and then we moved on to talk about, I think it's another baseball player getting an injury. This time it was tennis elbow or repetitive strain injury, which is the alternative I offered, and we spoke through the difference between tennis elbow and repetitive strain injury, and I'll let Hav pick it up again. Playing like computer games, like playing PlayStation.
Yeah. Well, this guy, I found him now. Matt Bonner plays for Antonio Spurs. He reckoned that the iPhone 6 was too big for his hand. So then he was texting away, and he got tennis elbow, and obviously for a basketball player, that's quite a. But I could, you know, like when you're texting though, you can feel your hand, you can feel your arm hurting. Like, just stop. Why are you going through the pain like that? Just
stop, send emoji.
I just want to.
They need to see this emoji.
No one needs to know about that, man.
Alright.
You know what I mean?
Well, that's a new one. But you're meant to be an athlete, man. Peak condition. Your whole body should be fully conditioned. So what? Are there like 13-year-old girls who are just suffering from tennis elbow because they've been texting too much through the night?
Maybe. Or maybe they've just got some thick forearms. You know what I mean? the new generations.
Them Popeye arms.
Most of these are baseball players. There must be a thing. Another baseball player called Wade Boggs. he was putting on some cowboy boots, and not sports related, and
he got his fingers caught in the spurs.
How does this work?
Go on.
Apparently, he bruised his ribs putting on cowboy boots, and it doesn't really have anything else. It just says that. How go? Let's think of
the only thing I can imagine
of how that could have happened.
The only thing I can imagine, he was trying to pull them on. His hands slipped.
And he hit himself. He hit himself in the ribs. Mate, he's got some. That must have taken him a while to put them on, man.
Is that, or is something like even crazier where he was in the seat and slipped, and then the seat went back and he fell off the balcony?
Yeah. Or he's putting in cowboy boots, and then someone came and shot him in the ribs.
Exactly.
There's nothing to do. Yeah, I don't know how that happened. We'll have to ask him.
Yeah,
we'll have to get him on the show. Another baseball player, Ricky Henderson. he got frostbite.
Yeah,
because he fell asleep on an ice pack.
That doesn't sound right.
He just fell asleep on an ice. He forgot the ice pack was there.
Yeah,
and he woke up with frostbite. Come on, what is up with these baseball players?
Isn't it?
Apparently, another player in 2001 had a stab wound in the stomach, and the cause. Again, we can decide how exactly this happened.
Yeah,
he was taking off the plastic off a new DVD.
What? Oh, okay.
Mate,
he was using a knife to open up that plastic.
Yeah.
Stabbed himself in the chest.
Yeah.
But those plastic packagings can be really tricky, mate. Do you know what I mean? You got to wrangle your way around. The worst one is when you buy a new pair of scissors and they come in the most indestructible plastic packaging ever.
I think razors.
I wish I could have a pair of scissors that I use to open this. Razors.
Don't you think razors are like that's the worst packaging to open.
Why so hard. That? You know, one of the things. You know, razors are one of the most stolen things in supermarkets.
Oh, is that why they're behind the counter now?
That's why they do lots of security measures for them. Razors are more likely to have security tags on them than alcohol is. Because, people just steal them so often. It's just something that it's used daily, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, razors. When I used to work in retail, it was razors and batteries. And
now they're both behind the counter now.
Are they both behind the counter?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Yeah, because people can just put them in their pockets. They're actually quite small, high-priced items.
Yeah.
Where they have a lot of them on the shelf. Yeah. Mate, the craziest one I've ever seen is, you know the deli counter?
Yeah.
And the meat counter. They used to put that... Do you remember the plastic packaging that they used to have to buy like a DVD in? A DVD, if you went to a supermarket, would have this thing where they've got to use the magnets to unlock this case, and then pull out the DVD from it. Yeah. They used to start putting meat and cuts into there because customers would go to the deli counter and get it packaged and slip it in their handbag and be off home. So
What? So they put those little...
There was a time when they started putting those into those security cases, and then it would have to get detached over at the checkout, just so you're not stealing £8 worth of £15 worth of steak and just going home with it.
But surely is it metal, that thing?
It's plastic. It's a see-through plastic case, but it's got the little magnetic.
Okay. I was just trying to think, will that affect the meat?
No, I don't think the metal case would affect it.
Taste the meat, not the magnet.
Not the magnet.
That should be the motto.
Yeah, I had to laugh at that when I first saw it, mate. But people are stealing, isn't it? People be stealing.
We're going to put a DVD thing on it. I got a couple more. Do you know Derrick Rose? He's quite high profile basketball player. So again, similar to what we had before, he was cutting an apple in bed, as you do. Why not? Why not, mate? Yeah. He's a millionaire. He does everything lying down because he's a freaking millionaire. Yeah, so he's cutting.
I'm not feeling his bed's in the kitchen, mate.
No, but you know, like, 'cause he probably got someone to fetch the apple and the knife for him, innit? Exactly. And then he's like, yeah, I'll just cut this here. Anyway, the silly bee. Yeah. He forgot. He forgot what? He forgot.
He had fingers.
Yeah, he forgot his knife in the bed while he's cutting.
So what happens is this genius goes out, has a good time out with his friends or whatever it is, socializing, comes back late at night, jumps into bed, the same bed that still had his knife from the earlier excitement of cutting up his fruit. And yeah, obviously suffers knife wounds and injuries and has to get taken to the hospital. I thought it was all an elaborate story to cover up something else that happened. And then I made a few more funny jokes, and that was about it for this segment. All right, so that was all I managed to salvage. If anything else comes to light, I'll be sure to upload it as well. In the meantime, thanks for tuning in to another episode of I've Heard It Both Ways. I've been Zach. He's been Hav. You can catch us on the social medias at IHIBW. So we're talking about Twitter and Facebook. You can email us at ihibwpodcast@gmail.com. And obviously, we'd appreciate it if you subscribe to the podcast so you can get all the episodes directly downloaded to your phone, or if you still listen on computer, that's also fine. We now have our ratings enabled, so you can rate us and leave comments and recommendations. All right, we will catch you next time.